And we're live. Welcome back to Core Team Hawaii's
What's up, guys?
weekly live and podcast of sorts. Today we're going to talk about cost of living because I just got off of a phone call with Alex.
Yep.
And we did this whole analysis of, but it cost us this much here, and then we're only going to make a little bit more there. But with cost of living increasing by X amount, we figure we're taking an approximate 30% pay cut, or at least a 30% reduction in affordability. And let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But first, go to coreteamhawaii.com here on my screen. Go all the way to the bottom. Fill out this contact form. You type sell my house, please. I'm just kidding. Actually, we typically like for you to keep your home, but sometimes you just have to sell. But if you need to sell or buy or do anything real estate in Hawaii, let me know. Let us know.
Yeah.
And fill out this contact form here. And as always, stack up your questions. Kenji's actually been doing a great job of getting us your past questions. So if we didn't answer a question before, there's some good question from the week. We'll link that and hit that. So
yes, cost of living. We'll talk about that today. And if you guys missed it, this past Sunday's video were the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when really relocating to Hawaii. And one of those mistakes is not considering cost of living, or expecting like mainland kind prices when you come to Hawaii. So
not recalibrating expectations.
Yes.
That's a good video you guys did. So I was off last week, and we got to revisit some of those kinds of videos because let us know what you think in the comments. We started the channel, with those types of videos, 5 reasons why, 7 things I hate about. And they're already there on the channel, but if they're 3 or 4 years old, people probably want a fresh take on it.
Yeah.
So, and after all, that's what we're here to do. We're here to inform, educate, connect, and eventually do real estate business.
Yes. And we love the feedback. So as always, leave us some comments. Let us know what you guys want to see and what type of things you guys are really liking. And we'll take that
too.
Yeah.
Someone was like, make a video with X, and we can't always necessarily do it. But sometimes we can, and so we do want to hear it.
You're like, leave a comment. We're not going to read them.
No,
we're not going to do them. But
we read most of the comments, but we've at a pace where I can't respond to all of them.
Yeah.
And or Kenji can't respond to all of them, but we try. All right.
Shall we go over some safe surveys before we dive in?
Let's do 1 or 2. So we're going to do 1 or 2 of these feedbacks. Our safe survey, our survey that we do with clients who are really hot, not attractive. But they're really,
maybe they are. Who knows?
They probably are if they're working with us.
We talk about hot, meaning that's what we categorize, like people who are like active right now.
Stage of conversion stage, what stage they're at.
It's
Hot.
Hot. Okay. So we'll just do a couple.
Or they're in escrow.
Yeah. First one is for Aiden and myself. This is from Matt. You're doing a great job. And I think we found a place. I think we did. I'm happy we will be in escrow. Mahi and Aiden are really on top of things. Yeah, we're working on that one.
Awesome. Shout outs to Elizabeth, who just texted me. I know we're going to be looking at my phone, but because we're doing this, I looked at my phone and they want a showing. They want to look at a house. And so, yes, Elizabeth, aloha. And I'll text you back after this.
We'll do one for Kenny too. Kenny is very thorough and covers all the basics, especially the timeline. He's usually prompting me because I'm kind of hands off. That's great feedback. And honestly, that's like our intent, because we don't want you to have to like stress out about every little thing. We want you to enjoy the process, and you will be prompted by us, by our team, by our transaction coordinators. We want you to kind of sit in the passenger seat and play an active role, but not have to drive. Yeah.
Cool. Mahi is responsive to our questions and very honest, very straightforward. I like that, because greater than I called you and you answered right away, or I texted you and the lead time was only 5 seconds. Greater than that is when we connect, you're very skilled, honest, and straightforward. So that's awesome. All right. Cost of living. Well, you never lived anywhere but Hawaii.
No, but I've been everywhere.
But you're a homeowner in Washington now.
Yes.
Yeah. So how much is your house in Washington?
Like 550,000, which is would be like 1.2, 1.3 over here in that nice community, with that yard and everything.
Okay, tell us. Bedroom.
It's like
Square
just
footage.
under 1,700 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath with 2 living spaces, enclosed garage, big yard.
How big? 10,000 square foot.
Yeah, like that big. Honestly,
Yeah.
don't even know, but pretty big.
And 5 something.
Yeah, in the 500s.
That would be so a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, with the bonus space and 1,700 square foot with a garage and a big yard, especially would be one. Yeah, I mean 1.2 is more like ever 1.2.
Yeah, and it's definitely the neighborhood is giving not like.
And so if you want to do that thing in Mililani,
honestly, that's what the neighborhood feels like.
More like a Mililani.
It feels
town.
like a Mililani town. Yeah. Like it's almost it feels kind of cross between Mililani town and like maybe like Aiea, like Newtown, like up that area. It's just like, but there's no association. Everybody just so happens to really take care of their stuff.
Yeah.
And all the yards are like well
I feel
manicured.
like take the beachness out of Kailua and it's a little Enchanted Lake, no?
Actually, it gives Enchanted Lakes.
It gives.
Yeah, it gives Enchanted
Lakes.
Lakes.
But that thing in Enchanted Lake would be,
I don't know, 1.5 or something.
3, 2, like 1.6 maybe.
Yeah, like a lot
with that
more.
yard. I mean, it doesn't really even exist.
Yeah.
So the conversation that we had today, spoke to Alex and I'm like, hey, so what's up? You guys got the job? You guys coming? And he's like, man, we want to, but the thing is where we live in Ohio, and I don't want to give too much information, but Alex's wife does a very specialist, very special, what's the word I'm looking for? Specialized thing in the medical field, and we need it in Hawaii. But they live in Ohio in the Midwest, and you know what Midwest cost of living is like. And so they're looking at, well, to be able to sustain the lifestyle that we want, we should really make double in Hawaii. That's their calculation. But we're willing to make less, but nowhere near as much as what they're going to pay us. So they're running a calculation of, let's say we make X per hour. In order to sustain the standard of living, we'd want to double, but they're only giving us like 10% more than we make in Ohio or 20% more like Ohio. So the way they calculate it is like our affordability is down 30-40%. And I don't even think he did a great job of calculating or a super thorough job of looking at the tax difference between the two states. So probably even more. So they're like, we want to go there, but bro, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And we have that cute little thing where even though the cost of living is higher, the wage disparity also exists where we're not necessarily getting paid as much as you could someplace else for the same expertise and job and scope, that you do where you're at. So it's a fun thing.
Like nurses. Let's like nurses in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, especially those who are in union at major hospitals. At this point, they're making $100+ per hour. Like a nurse 4 at Stanford, where I used to work there, nurse 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's probably other specialty pays and stuff. But even without nighttime differential, graveyard differential, a nurse 4 is probably making like $105 an hour or something right now. Whereas, and then you go to say Colorado and they make less, but it matches the cost of living. In Hawaii, that same nurse makes about $75 an hour. So like a 27% reduction in pay or something. And the cost of living is arguably the same.
Yeah.
Or it depends on what you're looking at. Some studies will say the Bay Area is more expensive. I think the Bay Area is actually more expensive because cost of housing is so much more. But it's about the same.
Yeah.
But there's a 27% reduction in pay. That's how it goes here.
Yeah. That's just part of it.
Because everyone wants to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're calculating the same thing, you're looking at, I'd like to move to Hawaii and I do this thing and I make this amount of money. My family was just here. My brother-in-law, Jeremiah, he was like, I'm like, Jeremiah, we can get you a job over here. He's like $105 an hour or $105,000 a year. He's like super deep solid. $105,000, you gonna give me a job $105? He's like, shoot, That's McDonald's pay. I'd have to make 160 to 200 to live over here. And but he's not entirely wrong. You know, he makes 105 where he's at. He'd have to make way more than that to sustain living here. So
yeah, Stephen Camacho said starting wages in my field are like 20% higher in the mainland. My classmates all left for the mainland for that reason. So that's another thing. Diaspora.
What is your field? What is your
Yeah,
field?
what do you do, Stephen?
Yeah,
what
yeah.
field are you in? But yeah, that's why diaspora is such a big thing here, because
What is diaspora? Not everybody know that word.
So like when you have to like leave the place that you're from, right? And Hawaii has a lot of that. Like any, you know, native people from this indigenous place, like sometimes it's very difficult to have a sustainable life here. And so they go someplace else where it might be easier for them to buy a home, to do whatever. And when we do that, when we as locals do that, whether that's Ninth Island, Vegas, right, Washington, you know, wherever.
A lot of Hawaiians, Polynesians, Chamorros in Washington.
Yeah, 100%. But when we do that, we experience the same thing trying to come back home. That, you know, we're like, oh my God, we already know how expensive it is here. That's why we leave, you know. But then to come back, it becomes a little bit more difficult because now you're accustomed to like, oh dang, I never could have got this over there,
right.
you know. So it becomes difficult. So we know we got it, and we want to help you with that goal to come back home. If it's something you want to do, I would love to see everybody come back home when they're ready.
Yeah.
But
I would love to see everyone keep their Monopoly pieces and be very thoughtful and skilled about whether they should get rid of, you know, Charles Place so they can get Park Place and Boardwalk, or however they're playing their game of Monopoly with their real life real estate funds. We had a client this week reach out and talk about whether they should sell their home in Ho'opili because they want to upgrade the level of school that their kids at, and they look at cost of private school, and they'd rather live in a different community, but in that community they won't really get the house they want. So one option for them is go rent but keep your home and do midterm renting so they can furnish it and attract 30 plus day renters. I think that's actually a great strategy for them, but we love having that conversation of should you sell. Also, Ken, you know our friend David Peterson, when he hit me up, when he hit me up a couple of years or a few years ago, I was like, to your point about getting back home, locals getting back home, I was like, David, I know you're looking, so he's underwriting cost of living. He goes, brah, I'll make like the same thing I make, or maybe he was getting a raise even, I don't know. But in his field, he was like, I'm going to go to Minnesota and I'll be able to get this great house, get a couple other Hawaiians up there, and well, you know, it'll just be amazing.
Get to
Literally a couple. And they work same reason they took the job, right? And he's like, I'm like, but David, keep your house here. Yeah. So I didn't approach him with commission breath and like, yeah, let's sell home. I was like, you sure you don't want to keep your house here? Because getting back into the market in Hawaii is going to be harder than, and I don't see Minnesota appreciating at the same rate. So let's think about that. You have $1 million house in Hawaii and it goes up 4% per year on average. Now, a lot of people, when they're trying to sell you on buying, they're going to say, oh, we go up 7% a year. And it's just, that's not, you can't, I would even underwrite it at 3%. You know? Yeah,
it's definitely not true across the board.
And so $1 million home at 3 or 4% becomes $1,030,000, $1,040,000, right? Let's just say 1 year of appreciation, an average year. Your Minnesota home you bought for 300, and yeah, it's cherry. You bought for 300.
5 years from now,
but you're not catching up. It's not 330 then and 340 the next year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, bro, for you to get back into Hawaii, if you ever want to, I think you should keep this home, and you can always rent there, have your roots here, and then make it through a couple Minnesota winters, bro.
Yeah.
Make it through a couple Minnesota winters, and you still want that smoke, sell your house here. The 2 out of the last 5 year for capital gains deference is gone, and so, or is still there. So I probably messed that up, but 2 out of the last 5 is you don't have to pay tax. So
tax accounting, that's what Stephen Camacho does. He said, oh yeah, that's the field he would have to take a cut in. Yeah, or he is paid lower than everybody.
What do you do like corporate or personal taxes, or let us know? Yeah. But yeah, I just want to brag and say we approached David very skillfully and authentically, and actually said, bro, I don't know if you want to sell. So
yeah.
But back to cost of living. I did a video years ago. I don't know if you were.
I don't think so yet.
If we were like working together
I
yet.
don't think so yet.
But Kenji and I went to Costco and Foodland.
Actually, I think yeah, but like barely.
You're barely.
Because I kind of remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we compared milk at one and milk at the other, and eggs at one and eggs at the other. It was a long time ago because I was still wearing a mask. It was still COVID times. Chicken breast and all these things. And no surprise, Costco is way cheaper than Foodland. But even still, if you did that in a comparison to like Alex's Ohio grocery store, would be crazy. I remember, now granted, this is 2007. I moved from Florida to California. Had a little stint in Virginia, Coast Guard. But chicken breast in Florida was 99 cents a pound. And chicken breast in California at the Safeway too, which is more expensive. I didn't know how to find the deals yet. But at the Safeway, it was $6.99 a pound.
Damn.
And I was like, I remember thinking, how? Like, what are the economics of this? Like, where's the farm? How far did you have to drive? Like, even if you had to drive it across country, this is crazy. And yeah, it's just there's a shock factor to living here. Our groceries are a lot more expensive. That's one of the shocking things. With having had family from the mainland just come, they were like, whew, because they would go Foodland, right?
And like our produce, I go ham when I'm traveling and just like, oh my God, we're going to eat fruits. We're going to eat salad for every meal.
Yeah.
Because like.
And it's fresher too a lot of the time.
Which seems crazy and counterintuitive to like what people expect here, but we actually import a lot of our produce.
Almost all. Yeah.
Almost all of it.
And so, and even the produce that's grown here, think about it. How expensive is the land? You have an acre to grow lettuce. How much of that acre cost?
That's me splurging when I buy like local produce. Like lettuce. That's not like the cheap produce.
You go Mari's Gardens.
I mean, yeah, but they only get, lettuce. Like I'm talking like Mizuno and like all the kind Japanese kind
they get
stuff.
Mizuno?
Do they?
Yeah, I think so.
Not the last time I was there.
Oh,
I gotta
really?
look. Yeah.
Well, I get it, but you think about the economics of it. Why you have an acre to farm even in the middle of, I don't know, Oregon? How much would that acre cost? How much is Oregon land worth versus Hawaii land? So even if the lettuce was grown here and didn't have to be shipped, it could be more expensive because the local business is so much harder for them to, for them to thrive. And so, my family's here right now. And so they'll run down to Foodland to get eggs or like get, my stepbrother made spaghetti. And he was like, bro, this is a $50 spaghetti. It was like something crazy where he was like, this is insane. Yeah. So sorry, people only go Foodland. What do you go Foodland for, Kench? Poke?
Specialty stuff, like the specialty cheese or
Foodland Farms, this guy.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Sorry, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're talking regular.
We're talking about regular Foodland.
Specialty items.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. This and that, if you don't want to park and run all the way in Costco and get a family size.
Yeah.
But you don't,
for sure.
You know anybody, especially anyone with a family who doesn't have a Costco card?
No. I don't know that I know anybody, like even like single people who
don't have a Costco card.
Who don't have a Costco card.
You'd be weird.
Yeah. Like, okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
You rich.
That's one thing we can all agree on. Liberal, conservative, woke, bootstrap, you go Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle's laughing at you. Haha, cheese. Like that's what you
said.
Yeah. We have a couple questions.
I thought you were checking questions over there.
Oh, and Kyle's in Alabama right now.
Yeah.
You know they got some
Probably
cheap chicken breasts.
Cheap everything, I'm sure.
But there's no vegetables. That pig, Kyle, leave a comment. That Piggly Wiggly ain't got no fresh lettuce. That's old iceberg lettuce.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's hit. There's some good questions.
Some questions? Okay, let's hit some questions. And then we're going to bring
Hawaii
Jody
bound.
in.
Can you all answer rental questions? Wondering if anyone offers discounts if you work the federal government Department of Transportation. I don't know.
No.
I wouldn't think so. We have a strong enough rental market where that's not probably going to be a thing. What's more common is does your company offer rental, like,
if you are some big wig coming here to run some federal thing, then you likely have a relocation company offering relocation assistance and maybe some incentive maybe even down payment assistance.
Her husband works in air traffic control.
Mm.
No, but
We need that.
nah, Jacob get him. Huh?
Yeah.
Jacob get him.
My
already.
classmate one too.
Really?
Yeah.
This girl I know from North Shore is one too.
Oh, really? That's all three of them.
Shout outs to Nichelle.
Nichelle.
Yeah.
I got a Jasmine. Mine is a Jasmine.
And Jacob. Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Small world. Huh? You bring up air traffic controllers. We know 3. Small Hawaii.
Let's see. Kirk Craig. Did you talk to a Kirk Craig, Jody? Yeah. Okay. Spoke to Jody yesterday. I'm more ready than I thought. May move up my relocation date. Kirk Craig.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Kirk's the one from Texas.
Samuel W. I'm buying a house in Kailua for 1.5. Who's your agent?
Samuel, what's up, bro?
And I'm closing escrow soon, but I only want to stay there maybe 3 months out of the year. What should I do with the home for the other 9 months? No ADU. I mean,
No, but Samuel, I do want to know genuinely, how is it that you didn't reach out to us? It's congratulations. But anytime we get the opportunity to get that feedback, how did our marketing not hit? And a lot of times it's, oh, I have a relative, or I found you after, I wish I found you first, whatever the case may be. But I would like to learn. So if you could leave us a comment and let us know.
Yeah.
But what is the question?
What he only going to live there for 3 months out of the year. What is he supposed to, what should he do for the other 9 months? And there's no ADU.
Well, do you want to rent it? Do you want to midterm rent it and monetize it for, is there a pool? Like, let me know what the details are and I can hook you up with our property manager and you can make some money in the meantime. Or maybe
9 months is a good stretch. A 6 month lease is a good stretch. You could find somebody who wants a 6 month lease. So,
you know what I found? This is a whole different topic, but I find that our townhome that we rent for 30 days at a time, approximately,
the long term is more.
It stays, no, we make more money, one, but it stays cleaner because the people aren't settling in. You know, they're not. There's only 1 month worth of toothpaste before it gets another deep clean, you know?
Yeah.
And so I find that our property stays cleaner because it's a midterm.
Bo Merrill said to Samuel, I will house sit for those 9 months.
Yeah. Oh, we could guarantee find you a house sitter.
He said he just Googled top agents on Oahu and went with the first guy on the list.
Bruh.
After I went into escrow, my YouTube started featuring your videos on my feed. Ay.
Well, anyways, congratulations. Reach out to us.
Yeah.
And we'll fix the Google algorithm why we weren't the top. But
dads can't cook. 12-year-old daughter always asking to move back to Oahu. I just tell her I just can't make the money that I can make here in Seattle on Oahu. Simple math. Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah, you definitely have to think sort of entrepreneurially, you know.
There are just classic occupations that you just know. I'm like, okay, well, how bad do I want to come home? You know, like my brother, for example, him, education, husband, entertainment. Like you're not making that money here. You know, you just can't.
There's no way.
There's just
they
no
would
way.
take what 50% pay cut more if they came back.
More.
Yeah.
What would Ben do here like that? That's sustainable in that way.
Channel 56.
Oh, he was what? Yeah. Okay.
Hawaiian Moving Company.
K5 the home team.
Yeah, K5 the
you could run K5 the whole team. Lance J. Horiuchi. Do you think you will end up staying in Hawaii or you think your families will end up moving? Me, I always want to have a foothold here. I do potentially see myself like wanting to enjoy that Washington house like after my kids are out of school, but we'll never sell the Mililani condo. We'll never sell that because
I want to get something different in Mililani.
I would like to not because it cash flows. So,
okay.
You know, why would I don't
just also get something else.
Yes, just also get something else.
Yeah.
Because even if I choose to go away for like in my retirement or whatever, like I want my kids to have the opportunity to stay home and like, or come back home if they say go away to college. And
you better get another one because I don't think they could live together.
Anakia?
After.
Hey, that's one house. They can figure out the other stuff themselves. You guys get bedrooms in a house. You guys fine.
Yeah. First world problems.
First world problems.
Are there more questions?
Foodland is expensive. Yes, agree.
Just following up on the Hawaii bound one.
What?
The one who husband works in air traffic control, so it'd be within a year.
Southwest area, Oahu, Kapolei area, because cost of living with 2 kiddos. Yeah, so probably not. I don't think any discounts or anything for the industry you're in. But if you do have questions about neighborhoods, how long are you guys gonna be here? Is this like a permanent move? We don't do rentals, and the agents don't really do rentals on the tenant side here. That's a tenant independent. I know in some states, depending where you're coming from, you're used to like having to have an agent to get a rental. That's not how it's run here. So that's pretty tenant independent, but we can help get you set up on searches, as well as like discuss like does it make more sense that you pay your own mortgage instead of paying somebody else's. So yeah, let us know what specific questions you have.
Arika, we're gonna bring in Jody soon. She can hit that question. Okami dog. So what is a major domo? Is that an actual word? Major. Is that a word? Because a lot of times you guys are like, you don't know what is that?
No, I don't know what is that.
Major domo. I'm
What is
assuming
that?
it means like some kind of house sitter term. And then Samuel, I'm just actually getting to read your comment because I opened my phone to look at the questions for when Jody comes in. But yeah, Samuel, hit us up if you want to talk about those 9 months. You know, congratulations on getting the house. No problem.
We're gonna bring Jody in.
Yeah, I have a PM, a property manager that I like that they do midterm renting and they'll do long term, and we can like underwrite the opportunity.
Do they do midterm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's it's a big reason why I refer to them. And so, hit us up.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring Jody in. So Mortgage Mafia gonna be sitting. I'm gonna leave and let her do her thing. So if you guys have finance questions, now is your opportunity to get those questions answered. So load them up.
All right. So Jody, we will get into what the rates are and all of that sort of stuff, but we can start you with a question from Arika. First, how are you?
So good.
So good.
All right. Amazing.
So good. That would almost go surferish, you know? So good, but it's Jody. So it's just Jody. Will Jerome?
I could be a surfer, remember?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Continue with the question.
Will Jerome Powell drop interest rates? If so, how will it affect the home prices?
So we have great question, and we have talked about this a lot. And I was talking to a buyer about this that was like an econ major, and he was like, I'm an econ major, so I feel like I should know, you know. So yes, it will be reduced by the end of the year, once or twice. And however, because of that probability, it's already baked into today's pricing. Meaning if Jerome Powell does not lower the Fed funds rate, when the market thinks that he will, rates will go up.
Whatever, because we've been doing this dance since mid to late 2022. And we all have this hope that rates go back to at least 2000 teens rates, like 4.75.
Okay, so
stabilized.
So did you hear what happened on yesterday?
No, but before she says that, I'm going to say what I predict is that the VA rate, because the VA and conventional are usually a little bit apart, but the VA rate will be between 5.5 and 6.5 for at least 80, I'll even go 85% of the next 12 months. And they'll say it is going to happen, it is going to happen. The VA rate will fluctuate between 5.5 and 6. I'm not contradicting you, but I'm just saying I'm contradicting brother Jerome, Uncle Jerome, and Uncle Donald, and all these people, because no matter what may or may not happen, unless there's some big geopolitical thing like a war between Taiwan and China, and then they drop rates, or some other like crazy financial positive thing for tariffs and jobs happen, so then they raise rates. It's going to be 5.5 to 6.5, and there is a difference between those. You lock in at 6.5 and 5.5, your payment's different, your principal and interest are different. However, it's going to be about the same. So I would say if you're serious about potentially buying, don't worry about that. Look for when you're ready, when your family's ready, when your kids are ready, when your wife, your husband's ready. It's going to be somewhere near 6. She's saying it's so gross to say, but the date the rate thing is true. Yeah. So Mahe is saying there's this cliche, marry the house and date the rate.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate that some of these cliches are true. Like you should always buy in Hawaii. It's normally works out, but it's too oversimplified. And so we don't like it because it's not thoughtful and skilled. But yeah, wait, when you're ready, you're ready. That's my thing. And to the second part of his question, if rates drop, we already see it in little pockets where rates drop. We see the market strengthen. And so if rates were to be 4.9 or 5.1 for a sustained amount of time, we would have a stressful housing market.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? What happened recently?
So the country, our country that we live
The
in,
country, okay.
credit rating, like as a nation,
Mhm.
got downgraded
Mm.
from like the highest rating, our debts. Okay, so just like you have a FICO score, I have a FICO score, the nation has a FICO score, and not a FICO score, but a credit rating, and that credit rating got downgraded. And so people were freaking out. Like they were like, rates are going to go up because when you're like, if you have a 640 and I'm giving you a rate, it's lower. It's the rate isn't as good as if you have a 760 and I'm giving you an interest rate. Similarly, they were like, oh my God, the US debt just got downgraded. This rate, we're gonna all price and rates are gonna suck, right? And they were the same, right? So that's just to say that that type of input into the system or change didn't impact because so much of what is going to happen in the future is priced into interest rates today.
Got it. Okay, we had a couple more comments. Samuel, I was just thinking about listing on Airbnb for 30+ day rentals, but I heard it's banned. Are you guys property managers? I think I'd be interested in renting it when I'm not surfing. Samuel, we do not personally property manage, but I would like to introduce you to my PM. If you reach out, you go on the website, go to coreteamhawaii.com, go to the bottom of this page, fill out the contact form, or just text me. My number is on here. It's actually my personal number. Someday I'm gonna have to make it not my personal number, but we'll connect you with our PM. I can't coach you on the deal that you're currently in because the ethics on that, but we'll connect you with our PM. And the 30+ day thing, it's a complicated answer. They don't enforce 30-day rentals, even if they would like for the minimum to be 90. But if you were to rent for less than 30, you would count on that being enforced. So I'll allow the PM to talk to you and counsel you on that, and you can make your own educated decision. Hawaii bound. We will set up a phone call with you all. What number is best? Because we are interested. Oh, you got them. Okay. I'll send an email now. Okay, perfect. Soy sauce boss. You guys are amazing. I hope to move there one day. Hey, mahalo, soy sauce. Kiko man. I don't know. Luke, I've always had this fantasy about living in Hawaii because of the family closeness. Plus, I like how if you have kids, they take graduating public high school is a big deal, unlike the mainland. Yeah, but you know what? The reason why it's such a big deal here is because the same reason like babies' first luau's are a big deal, because like people don't make it that often. And so it would almost be nice in a way. Now, Mahe, for looking at me like, what you gonna say about leis, in Hawaiian tradition? Would almost be nice if it wasn't as big of a deal because we were all so successful that's just standard. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Even my son just had elementary hoike, and everyone stays and gives leis, and
that was really cute.
It's amazing. My sister never stayed. I was like, "Where are you going?" She's like, "Oh, we're gonna go." I was like, "You don't get it, huh? You gotta stay and give away." Okami Dog said Major Domo is, yes, it's a steward of the house, like on Magnum PI. Do they say that on Magnum PI? Major Domo? Luke, but after learning more from your channel, financially, it's better for me and mine mainland. I learned something from you guys. Hawaii bound. Okay, I will write down the number. I'm waiting for my husband to get home. Then we can call. Cool. Stephen Camacho. on the date the rate thing, pretty risky for HHFDC, because cannot refinance for 10 years. So there's HHFDC and HHFDA or I don't know, something, but there's two of them, and one's a 5-year program, one's a 10-year program. And I like the 5-year better, not only because of the duration, but also the amount of shared appreciation that they take from you is also capped. And so there are certain developments that are one and certain that are the other. Should reach out to us because I like the 5-year program, and I would even live further to be in the 5-year program because it financially just makes more sense. And you can buy a home and count that you can probably live there 5 years, but 10, even if you think you are, you might not. So any new developments on the horizon? Was just wondering. Are you talking about new construction? Most things are known. There's one in Manoa, the old St. Francis School, that is a unique one. What are the rates today, Jody? What's the VA? What's the conventional rate?
What do you think?
I think I think VA is 6.125 with no lender credits.
It's about a 6.25 at 0 points.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah.
And then conventional is 6.65, 6.7.
Conventional 6.75
6.7
at 0 points. Yeah.
Cool.
Which is pretty good for conventional.
That's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just how it's gonna be.
We have you. Oh, you know what? I wanted to start out this live and I forgot by sending our aloha and thoughts to Alvin,
Yes.
one of our clients who's in escrow and had a medical event and is healing up. I intended to start that way, but it made me think of it because they're paying attention to rates and they're hoping for rates to go down, but they might not. So let me ask you this: last year or a year before, so at some point in the last couple of years, we were like, okay, their inflation's going to come down, the jobs are going to shrink, and then we're going to get to like 5.1, or we're going to get to like 5, and we'll stay there.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm not going to plan on that. I'm tired of thinking that might happen to the point where I don't even think about it anymore. What do you think?
So the presidency was a surprise. And I mean, that is, well, I don't know if it was a surprise. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But if
it wasn't a serious consideration until it was.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of, get political, a lot of people weren't too surprised. I wasn't too surprised, but we certainly, as we were underwriting things in the Biden presidency, weren't like doing it with the thought of planning for Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
And we knew that that's what he wanted to do with the tariffs, right? But if it was a Democratic president, it would not, rates would be coming down faster.
Things would be more status quo and predictable.
It's just what would be happening. So we would be a little bit more in alignment with our 18-month trajectory, which
is it, I don't want to get political, but is it that a Democrat president or just a non-Trump? Because if we had like a Marco Rubio or something, we'd probably be fairly stable too.
Yeah, perhaps. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The tariffs really are a disruptor, a major disruptor. And it is difficult for rates to go down in a tariff policy.
Yeah.
It's counter, like they are against each other. We can't.
Yeah.
Right. So, the theoretics go that wait it out. The tariff policy is going to work. We're going to become the overpowering force. We're going to win this little trade war, not little, big trade war. And then everything's going to be great.
You know what? I want you guys to sauce it up in the comments. Tell us what you think about the tariffs. Tell like, are you red pill? Do you hate Trump? Just light it up in the comments. Cause I wonder, the reason why I'm saying that is when you're saying the tariffs and the rates are just opposing each other. we have a lot of in-depth conversations. Your master's in economics, your brother, his whole life is just money.
That's
And
it.
like he doesn't have another hobby.
That's it. And dogs.
Yeah, dogs and like travel to Japan with his collectibles, and then but largely by and large finance. And then you guys lead us in our understanding of those things. And so the tariffs are opposing good rates is obvious to you, and we get it. But for most people, that it takes a lot of consideration and study to understand that. That's not an obvious thing to everyone.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
costs are going to go up because we have, I feel like a majority of the population has, or people I talk to have kind of figured it out. Like, okay, so there's this thing that has to get paid. And so now the business is going to pass that on to the consumer. Like even though I don't think that was necessarily a known thing, it was like, yeah, make those people pay.
Did Amazon did a thing, right, where they were like, this is the price and this is how much of the price is because of tariff? Is that on Amazon? Have you guys seen it?
I saw it on Walmart and Target. So I don't know if I saw it on Amazon, but I saw it on Walmart and Target.
A Walmart and Target had it? Oh, interesting.
Right.
Oh, really?
I think Costco has it.
Are they taking, I hope they're not taking a further opportunity to gouge and say
No.
like, we're going to mark this up.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they are. I don't think anyone is. And I
Yeah.
mean but that's the thing, like that, to connect the link between like, okay, wait, now I'm going to be paying more because of this thing that we're trying to stick it to the other, suppliers.
Yeah.
And then that connection that like, okay, so the costs are going to go up.
Yeah.
What's another way to say costs are going to go up? Inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation and rates, they don't go hand in hand, because if rates go down, more people are going to buy, more things are going to get more expensive because there's going to be less supply.
Yeah.
And that's why they're counter. That's the link, I think.
Yeah. So I'll just stir in the pot here.
Okay.
I got 2.9% under Trump. So, wait. Before we get to that, Hawaii bound, what is the cap that VA home loans cap a borrow on? So there's actually no cap anymore, right? There used to be, you could only borrow up to X and it would change with time. And then over that, you pay a down payment on the difference, right? Whereas now, I've heard of like a $5 million VA loan, but you do have to have supporting income. So you can't just make like E7 pay and go buy a $10 million home. Your debt to income has to math, right?
We're working on a $4 million loan right now.
4 million VA?
4 million VA.
Yeah.
Zero down.
Zero down.
Zero down. Zero down. Yeah, it's nuts. But
Yeah.
But if you already own, that's still going to exist.
Okay.
So you're still going to, like you're still going to need to put a particular down payment.
Yeah. I had to put like an 18% down payment on my recent home.
Entitlement.
Mahi jumped in and said, if you don't have full entitlement, there's still a cap. There's still math to be done. But I'm going to assume with your question, you're talking about having full entitlement. And so, yeah, there's no cap as long as you can afford it.
Yep.
As long as you can. Okay. I got 2.9% under Trump. America. It worked with China. Democrat.
Yeah,
Democrat household here. We like common sense rules and nice people. I stood the pot. Nice people like Antifa. Just kidding. My 401k also shot up again. What I lost and then some. Tariffs are good for the long run. That is I'm always talking with your brother about this. And that is the sentiment of like, he and I have good conversations, but then he like doesn't get people who have certain points of views. And then we have good conversations, but the right view, because it's almost like you cannot tell me water is not wet in the short term in terms of like tariffs are bad today and there's no arguing it. But the red pilled point of view is, well, long term, It's a long-term play.
It is a long-term
Like I'll
play.
corner you, get you where I want you, in over 20 years. You'll see it will have been a good thing. But only time will tell that. And math is math. So at least there's some objective numbers that we can look at now and we'll be able to look at in the future. Kids 529s lost a couple thousand since January. Ashley Kong. Trump ridiculed Walmart and told them to eat the tariffs and not put it upon the consumers. Yeah. But yeah. Come on, let's keep it going, guys. Let's stir the pot on these tariffs. In any case, whatever someone's view is on whether they're good for America long versus short term, we know that.
The other one factor, I had a conversation with a small business owner, a local girl, local brand, and she is worried that they will not be able to continue. Her clothing would have to increase. Like a dress is maybe like 55. Maybe actually she does little kids and then she does adult women. So women, it's fine. We can spend a little bit more because we're not going to grow out of it, right?
Yeah.
But like a little honey is going to be like,
that's what the little dresses are called.
That's not what they're called, but
okay.
She always calls, it's so cute because she always calls, anytime she posts a picture, she always calls it like one of her little honeys wearing her stuff. But so they are going to outgrow their stuff, right? And of course we have hand-me-downs, we have friends and family that we can hand it down to or whatever, but like you're not really going to spend like $65.
You scrutinize the decision more when it's a child's piece of clothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and especially when you can go to XYZ store and get something for maybe like $9 or $10, right? So for her, she cannot manufacture in the US and they are bringing in stuff from China and her business is directly impacted and she may not continue. And I think a lot of small business owners, not just locally, but nationwide are impacted. And, I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sure Derek knows, but like small business America is what is America like that. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, I'm a small business. I mean, like we're small businesses, right? So like, that's where there's a lot of pain. And that's where there's a lot of like, does this really make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You can't tell the person who's struggling or maybe shutting their doors. It's easy to say, but tariffs will be good in the long run, which you don't. A lot of economists would disagree. So I know I made the Antifa comment. I tend to be a little more. I think there's not nice people on both sides. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
But in defense of Hawaii Bound, like, yeah, you can't tell the small business owner who is considering or already has shut their doors, but it's good for America in the long run. So you can tell like Walmart, eat it. Like, right. Your margins are your $1 billion profitable a year, like help America out a little bit. Okay. Still, that's, corporations need to be healthy to employ people, right. But to tell the local hardware store, the surfboard rental company that you're going to shut down, but it's okay. Go work Walmart.
Yeah. Like that's okay. I mean, that's just like collateral damage. So sorry.
They say it's a recession when your neighbor loses their job. It's a depression when you lose yours.
Yes.
And the same could be applied to your business, right?
And I thought about that the other day when there was that, I don't even know the details, but like the coffee farm, some of her workers got taken by ICE.
Oh, here. The one in North Shore, like Waihua.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she was like, I don't have workers. Like, I mean, I was just thinking like, well, she wasn't probably thinking that her people were going to get deported out of the US.
Yeah, probably not. Okay. Lil A, aloha. Summers in Hawaii as a family of 4. Do you guys think it's worth buying a place there or just rent for those 3 months and maybe buy a boat or condo tell? That's such a unique decision, but I will say someone sent me a leasehold property recently and I underwrote it. I looked at it with another agent who knows the building really well, and it was the best leasehold I've looked at. The numbers work. Like I could see buying one and making it work. But generally, 3 months is a long time though. But generally speaking, I don't think you should, especially when you live somewhere else, you shouldn't buy in Hawaii thinking you're gonna make money. Now the like displacing local indigenous people, that's a whole different conversation. But the numbers just don't work very, like we're not a great state to do out of state investing in. And so generally my answer to that is no, don't buy here. But then
But if you're not worried about cash flow,
if you're not worried about cash flowing, you just want the place that's yours and you want to like keep your surfboards in the closet or have that, then that's a different reason to buy. But to just have 10 different spreadsheets of Scottsdale, Arizona, Augusta, Georgia, Cleveland, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and then Hawaii, usually the numbers don't work that great here.
Is that leasehold on Young Street? This is asking.
Is the leasehold on Young Street? No, it's technically Alamana Boulevard was like the start of Waikiki. It was like the inn at. Oh no, it wasn't the inn. I forget the name of the building, but it was no, it wasn't on Young Street. Oh dang, what is this show turning into? Yeah, Melissa, I don't know, just having a little fun. Ethan, I love Ethan's comment. This is a fun market to be in. LOL, just trying to enjoy the ride. Hawaii bound, not happy, and I can't say that tariffs are the best way to go. It's screwing up everything. Small businesses are taking the hits. The poor won't be able to afford this lifestyle. It's just insane. Ethan DeVries, what do you say to people only focused on the rates, especially if you bought when the rates were under 3%? It was nice to have such a low rate, but rate should necessarily dictate your whole, I think it shouldn't dictate your whole decision. Yeah, Ethan, so we addressed that earlier, and it was rates are going to be 5.5 to 6.5 on the V. I use VA because it's the lower marker. It's going to be 5.5 to 6.5 for the most part for 85+% of the next 12 months. It's just how it's going to go, in my opinion. And so could you buy at 6.5 and then refi down to 5.5 when that hits? Like that is a big, delta. And yes, especially if it's VA because it's cheaper to refi. But just make the decision based on you, your family, your kids, your finances, your marriage, all of those things. It's a personal decision, and don't let rates control things because you can't time the market. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market. And on that, we'll end soon, but let's get through some of these comments. Lance Jr. Horiuchi. Yeah, not going to care long-term if cannot feed your family today.
exactly.
People being deported breaks my heart. Melissa was the leasehold on Young Street. No, it wasn't. And Lily A. I think I said Lil A.
I think you did
So I
too.
listen to rap music. Sorry. I'm not looking to make money. Just a place to stay with the kids for the summer. Even breaking even would be nice. Oh well.
You may not even break even.
Well, you wouldn't rent something for 9 months and then unlikely to break even on the year. Break even or better on those 9 months and then take the hit on those 3, sure. But I don't know. It depends on your budget too, right?
Budget,
Yeah,
how long you anticipate owning, like what is the story with coming to Hawaii with the family? Like, but if it's long run ownership, I can't see why not buying would be a thing.
Yeah, if it's long, the longer the decision, the easier for it to make it. A lot of people with that contemplation are like, well, my budget is X, but I really don't like Waikiki or town. I like to stay in Ko'olina. Or it's like, well, that's, what do they say? Shrimp, hamburger budget, lobster appetite or something like that. And so it really just depends. If you have, the guy who just bought the home on Kahala Ave for $64 million, it wasn't a need. Like they're not necessarily profiting. They just wanted it. That you have to buy for $64 million to do that? No, but it may be that you buy a place for $2 million and making money wasn't the thing right now. It was enjoying this phase of life, right? So I think we're gonna end it. Melissa, I feel like the situation with the property is pretty juicy. I would like to hear more about what is happening.
It's talking about Aria Lane. She requested a video on the new one in Manoa.
Oh, on Aria Lane.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty juicy. Melissa, what do you mean it's pretty juicy? I think I know what you're alluding to, but maybe we'll pick up on that. Leave us a comment, question. We'll pick up on that next time. Anything else you want to add about?
I was gonna say, again, in this slower unit market, a lot
Slower
of
unit?
like unit, like just units closed. Like
Yeah,
it's a lower number
Yeah.
of closings.
Mhm.
A lot of our buyers are competing. Like they're having to put their best foot forward. It's a very unique and interesting market where it's not like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go 50K under just cause. Like it's I don't know if, I mean, technically some of Oahu is a buyer's market, but it doesn't feel like it to me.
It's hard. It is man, it's a market that takes a lot of consideration.
Yeah.
Um
Less than 50% of our offers get accepted,
mm.
or maybe 50
It
to
dep-
60.
I'm underwriting a home in Kailua, and I looked at a comp, and I called the seller's agents, and I said, "Hey, I'm surprised you you didn't sell for more. And how many offers did you get?" And they had two, maybe three. And that's a home that I would expect it would have had 10 or 12. They had two, maybe three. They were just as surprised as us, and they went, a good 125 or more under what they thought they would have.
Wow.
No, they went above asking, but they strategically listed low to get high,
Mhm.
and they thought they would go even higher.
Mhm.
And so I thought they would as well, and they didn't.
Mhm.
And so that informs my decision, coaching these other sellers. And now it was a beautiful home. Like, it was a beautiful home, but now higher price point, more of a want than a need. There are homes that are extremely competitive. When I was buying my home a few months ago, my area was extremely competitive.
Yep.
And I actually, to this day, now that I've bought it, I feel like I'm more overpaid than I did at the time I was buying. I knew I was overpaying when I bought it. Today, our market has slowed. I bought at the recent peak of our market. For whatever reason, there were a handful of us people wanting to buy the similar thing, and it got super competitive. And then I think I created the peak, and everything in my whole community is lower. But that being said, a lot of sellers also have FOMO from 2021 still.
Yeah.
And so it's just to Jody's point, it's just it depends situation. Everything's so unique. At 3 million, it'll be less competitive than at 900 to 1.1. But at 900, at 1.3 in Kaneohe, that would be extremely competitive.
Yes.
At 1.3 in Eva, you might be a little above the market and be less competitive. It used to be that if something wasn't renovated, it was kind of bust up, people would say, "That's okay. I'm getting a 3% rate. I'll whatever." Now people look at it like, don't need it. I had more of a want than a need. So yeah, it's a unique market. Don't get too entitled, but when you can go for their throats, we will.
Right.
When we can get you
Definitely.
every penny, we go and stick it to the seller, we will. But we'll just be honest about you whether we can at any given time.
There's one for sale in my neighborhood that I'm going to start tracking.
Oh,
I
yeah?
just saw an open house sign on Sunday. I was like driving home.
Is
I'm
it
like,
one of the full remodel needs torn down
I didn't
ones?
see it. I didn't look it up yet, but I just know I saw an open house sign. And so I was like, ooh, maybe I should drive around and try to find it, but I didn't.
Yeah. So Christine, we did a video about bringing your pets to Hawaii. It's focused on dogs. I assume the process is similar. That's a good place to start. And we'll see you guys in the next one. We got to go get to